Jarom's latest edition of 10 and 10.
10 lists in 10 weeks. It's Jarom's 10 and 10.
Let's go. The top 10 defenses BYU will face this season. Not listed: McNeese State and Hawaii. They're just not good. Number 10, UMass. The Minutemen replaced 3 of the 4 starters on the D-line, including Deshaun Downey, who had 20 tackles for loss in 2017. Sixth-year and oft-injured middle linebacker Britton Barr had 105 tackles. The biblical duo of Lee Moses and Isaiah Rogers combined for 7 picks at corner last season. 6 starters returned.
I think that BYU will part the Red Sea of UMass and win that game, but I still don't think it's a guaranteed win, man.
Guaranteed win. Number 9, New Mexico State. Former Boston College head coach Frank Spaziani. Third year at DC, linebacker Terrell Hanks had 111 tackles, 7 sacks last year. He's the leading returning player. This group will try and replicate their production of being second in the country in sacks, 7th nationally in third down conversions last season. They were really good.
Both of those things are not happening.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Number 8, Utah State. The Aggies allowed 14 or fewer 4 times, but gave up 40-plus in 3 games. This was a young group with 6 of the 9 top linemen and 4 of the top 6 backers, freshmen or sophomores. They also had Oklahoma State tackle Fua Leilua and TCU linebacker Tipa Naliai with some talent there. The secondary was awesome, 19th in pass yards allowed.
Okay, I think that's 100% fair for Utah State. At number, I think they're a middle-of-the-pack defense that BYU will face.
Lower end on my scale here. Number 7, Arizona. 9 returning starters on a team that ranked in the bottom 25 in points and yards allowed last season, yet they're ahead of Utah State. Opponents averaged 12 yards per completion, highest of any Cougar opponent this fall. Linebackers Colin Schuler, Kylan Wilborn, and Tony Field II are really good in the middle of the field. Cornerback Lorenzo Burns had 5 picks last season. I just think Arizona's more athletic than Utah State.
Typically, Kevin Sumlin teams have not been high on defense. Coming from Texas A&M, he's always had these dynamic offenses. His defenses haven't been great. So show me otherwise, or I think that they're going to be bottom half of what BYU faces.
Number 6, Cal, one of the nation's worst pass defenses the past 5 seasons. Last year, the Golden Bears finished 112th in pass yards allowed, 91st in pass defensive efficiency, gave up nearly 65% completion.
That's fantastic news.
7 returning starters, but 11 of the top 14 tacklers back, 7th best in the Pac-12 in points allowed, 28 a game. Best mark in 6 years. Justin Wilcox is a good defensive coach.
Okay, so they give up 28 a game, which is a better mark.
That's good in the Pac-12.
And they make a bunch of tackles, but when you give up a bunch of yards and touchdowns, you need a bunch of tackles.
Exactly. Tackles are overrated. Number 5, Northern Illinois. The defense is the strength of this team. 16th in rushing defense, 26th in total defense a year ago. A former running back, Sutton Smith, best player you've never heard of on BYU's schedule. Then he led the nation in sacks and tackles for loss. 27.5 tackles for loss, 14 sacks. 6 foot 225. That's it. But slippery. 4 of the top 6 tacklers are gone, but 7th in the nation in 4.62 yards allowed per play.
This is why Northern Illinois frightens me as the sneakiest game on BYU's home schedule. I think
it's sneaky, man. Yeah.
They are really, really disciplined, and they play great defense.
Number 4, Boise State, 22nd in yards allowed, 332 a game, 17th in rush yards per game at 120. The Broncos held top 20 rushing offenses, Oregon, Air Force, San Diego State, New Mexico, to an average of 127 a game. How about that? 10 of the top 11 tacklers are back. The entire secondary is back. That forced 8 picks. David Moe and Curtis Weaver anchor a good defensive line.
Everybody talks about Boise State being so great year in and year out offensively. If they're going to make a run to the college football playoff as the G5 representative.
Well, a New Year's 6 game. They ain't going to the playoff.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's going to be because of their defense.
Sure. Number 3, Utah. Bradley and I star the defensive line now. Chase Hansen is a linebacker after 3 years at safety. Secondary loaded. Standout corner Julian Blackman had 4 picks. Jalen Johnson's good too. 52nd, though, in scoring D and total D. 25 sacks, lowest since 2006. But 6 starters are back. They hope to replicate those typical U defenses. Still finished top 3 in the Pac-12 in scoring and total defense.
Utah has a good defense? That's weird.
But they weren't as good last year. That's my point.
Ooh.
Number 2, Washington. For the 3rd year in a row, the Huskies led the Pac-12 in yards and points allowed. Top 10 in nationally in both. 4th in rush yards allowed per game. 10 TD passes allowed last season. That's it. 33-game starter Greg Gaines will be asked to plug up the middle, replacing first-round pick Vita Vea. 5-star recruit and former BYU commit Brandon Alekaho could get some time at linebacker. Free safety Taylor Rapp, returning first-team All-Pac-12 player.
I hope Brandon does well at Washington.
Yeah, I really do. Just not in that game.
Yeah.
And the number 1 defense BYU will face in 2018 is Wisconsin. Top 5 in points, yards, passing yards, and rush yards allowed last season nationally. I'll continue to say words, but that's all you need to hear. 11 pass TDs, 7 rush TDs all season. BYU didn't score a touchdown against this team. Opponents completed 49% of their passes. First team All-American TJ Edwards and Ryan Connolly anchored the defense. The linebacker Dakota Dixon, star at safety, first team All-Big Ten. This team held the Cougars to 6 points and 192 yards in Provo, and those are the top 10 defenses BYU will face.
And as great as I felt about all those numbers you were giving me from the Cal Golden Bears at number 6 and all of the yards that they gave up, I feel the opposite end of the spectrum with Wisconsin. They are so talented.
They're incredible.
They are so experienced, and man, top to bottom, I mean, they might be the best offense that BYU faces this year. Good grief.
A note on Wisconsin. Their schedule wasn't particularly tough compared to other kind of elite college football teams last year. This year, Wisconsin has to play a tougher schedule. I'm thinking they lose a game or two. They're not going to be undefeated going into the Big Ten title game. Could one of those losses be BYU? Probably not, but let's hope.
Wisconsin picked to finish second in the Big Ten, by the way.
To Ohio State. And Penn State's really good, too.
That's pretty darn good when you're picked to finish second in the Big Ten to what people are calling an Ohio State team that might be the best that Urban Meyer has ever had. So there you go.
And that's saying a lot because they're good every year. But yeah, BYU's playing a couple of really good defenses, notably
Holy
up
cow.
top.